what's going on Team Tweedie? I hope you're all super well. Welcome to episode 54 of #Asktweedie, the football show where you send in your football related questions. I answer them, give you guys as much value as possible, and let's hope that I help at least one of you. This is completely unedited. I don't do anything to this except maybe change the color because I like that. I washed my hair the other day and yeah, now it's like, yeah, it's okay. It just kind of goes off to the side like this. But cracking on with it. Every episode we ask 3 questions. Remember, if you haven't already, make sure you go Make sure you go down below, click the subscribe button. When we hit 15,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away, I think all I've got here is the shorts, yeah, because the top's in the car. We'll be giving away my Manly United kit, and you get the shorts, you get the top. One lucky person will win that. I'll sign both of them, and yeah, like write you a little message on it maybe. Whatever you want, I'll do it. So when we hit 15k, we're pretty close. We're like 1,500 off or so. I have no idea. But first question, let's start off with this one. How old were you when you decided to go pro? That comes in from Christoph_P11. Remember, leave your questions in the comments below, or if they're a little bit more personal, send them to me on Instagram, or yeah, just Instagram, probably not Snapchat. How old was I when I decided to go pro? Now, I always wanted to be a footballer. I always knew from a young age that I was good at it. I've told you guys this before. When I was younger, I was scoring goals upon goals from the age of under 5s to the under 10s. I absolutely killed it. For me, there wasn't really a switch where it went, I want to be a pro. This is what I want to do. It's kind of just led from me being a good player to understanding what I can do, I guess, if that makes sense. So understanding that I'm a good player and I can go somewhere with this. And there was never a switch which went, I can't do this, or maybe I'm questioning myself, or maybe it's too difficult. There's never been any of that. But yeah, I know there's some people out there who go, I want to be a pro, and decide it just like that. For me, there's never been a time where I've gone, you know what? I'm going to go for it. It's just been my life ever since a young age. And I think if that's your mentality and that's how you've grown up, then you're going to succeed. Look, it's difficult because I wouldn't say more than someone who just decides they're going to go pro. For me, this is how I am because I've been brought up in a family where my dad has just surrounded me with football, and I'm so grateful for that. And 2, I absolutely love the sport. It's what I've wanted to do my whole life. There's never been a question to do something else. I've told you guys I've maybe thought about becoming a lawyer, and it's more just, I think I was, why I don't understand why I wanted to become a lawyer. I think because they made so much money or something. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a lawyer. But then I just thought, well, why would I want to do anything else? I want to be a footballer because I want to play football as a living. And yeah, so look, there was never a point in my life where I specifically remember going, yeah, this is the day. And it's just snowballed ever since, from like under 11, like even under 11s, I got dropped from a team. I told you guys that the other week. And yeah, let me know when you guys decide to go pro. Have you guys recently decided now's the time to work? And if you do, and if you have, that's completely fine. I think that's okay. And I just, in my opinion, and I think most of you guys will agree with me, someone who grows up with football and is in that environment has more of a chance to become a pro than someone who decides at the age of 16 that they're going to really go for it now. And that's just facts, because they've put in, from the age of 5 to 16, a lot more hours than someone who's done this much from 5 to 16. So it is what it is, and I'm not saying, for people who decide now, don't stop, keep going. If you're 16, that means you've got to put in triple the work of what everyone else did, because we all started when we were 5. And, be careful with your body. That doesn't mean go out, train 5 times a day. You got to be careful with it. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. So when did you guys decide to become a pro? Let me know down in the comments. Second question. Why do soccer players cut their socks, and is it better to do it? Why do football players decide to cut their socks? Now, I've had a lot of people throughout all of my teams decide to cut their socks, and personally, I've never ever cut my socks. And the reason that people do it is basically I'll show you a full example. So basically you have these long socks, right? And down the bottom here, a lot of people don't like this material. They think it's too thick. Sometimes it's really slippery, which I do agree with. When you get the new socks, these can be slippery. So what people do is cut, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see, here we go, why don't I just do it like this? Cut from about here and cut that off, so now all that they're left with is this top half of the sock. And what they do is they'll put this ankle sock on, not specifically this one's got a hole in it, but they'll put something like true socks or just any sort of sock which is much thinner and allows you to, what's the word? I don't know. It's not as thick, it's not as slippery. For me, I much prefer, see, I have two versions of this. Where's my other one? It was literally just here. I have two versions of this type of sock. This one is extremely thin, and then this pair is much thicker, and I much prefer the thinner pair. I've just never really thought to cut my socks, partly because I don't want to have to tape it every single time, because what you have to do is cut it and then tape it, and that just becomes a hassle. So I prefer to just, stay out of that. Does it help? I think maybe mentally for some it helps. Physically, it can definitely. You don't have to have that bigger sock, but then you have to invest in tape. You need to deal with that, and it can be annoying. So for me, I've personally never done it in my life. Will I look to do it in the future? Maybe. I might get into it. It's the hassle. Do you guys do it? I see the benefit in it, but I also see, the reasoning of why bother? You got your socks, but in saying that, what I did say about these two socks is when I train with Jasper and it's extremely wet on the field just from the dew from the morning, this sock, which is much thinner, is much better to train in, whereas this one here, what happens is it goes down like that and it gets all wrinkled up in my feet, which is not nice at all. So that might be another reason. Will I look into it? Yeah, maybe. I might have convinced myself. But then you got to invest in tape and I don't know. But that's the reason, so that they can wear other socks, whether it's thinner socks, lighter socks, grippier socks. Some people buy the true socks, which have more grip on the bottom. It just gives you more options of what you can use on your feet rather than just going with a standard sock. Final question. How many hours do you train a day and how do you recover to fit it in with team training? That comes in from Tim King 7 Official. How many hours do I train a day? It always varies, and it varies depending on what my body can handle. And I think a lot of people, you guys see my entire life through the screen, and what you guys don't see and what nobody sees, no one in this world, is what my body can take. So if I'm training, for example, Tuesday, I had a morning session with Clayton that went for about an hour and 15 minutes. Then I had a session at night which went for 2 hours. I had a session Wednesday morning which went for an hour and a half, session in the afternoon which was a gym session, and then I had another double session tonight. So look, tomorrow I'm thinking I'm going to go for another shooting session because I absolutely love it and my body's feeling good. But you look at all of that, that's a lot of hours, and if my body wasn't up to it, which sometimes it isn't. I've cancelled shooting sessions before to look after myself. And how do I fit it in with team training? I always try, some people, there's another question here. I'm not going to answer it in another video. Where is it? Should I train on a game day regardless if it's before or after the game? What if you play? Actually, no, we'll answer that another day. But training, when it comes to team training, you want to perform at that because that's the thing that's most like a game. I've told you I've told you about this before. You need to be able to perform at team trainings. So when it comes to your team training sessions, go out there and be ready for it. Now, you see someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, a thing recently came out on him where he's at the session before the training even starts and he stays after as well. Now, that's brilliant, 100%. You guys can go do that as well. But in saying that, I'm sure as well, he doesn't overload his body before the session. He needs to perform during that training, so he might be doing some free kicks, some volleys, shooting, just something that's light. And if you're going to do something heavier, do it as many hours before training as possible. So there's the two options you have. Do it close to training, but keep it light. Make sure you're working on it still. When you need to work, let's say you do a light shooting session, when you work, you do your intense little dribble or touch out of the feet and strike, then you rest, recover, and go again. If you're doing it in the morning, now you can look to do some more intense stuff. I do sprint session and cardio session the day of training, so I have training that night, and sometimes my coach says to me, Sheldon, why do you do this to yourself? Because he can tell, he looks at me and he sees me at training, I'm almost falling asleep and I'm just knackered. And yeah, so you need to be careful with it. You need to understand your body, fitting it in. Ice baths are always great if you feel like you need that. Stretching is important. Yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to end it there. I hope I helped at least one of you, like I said at the start of video. I hope I helped at least one of you, like I said at the start of the video. If I did, make sure you leave a like down below. I think we absolutely smashed it last episode. We got 0 dislikes, which is crazy. There's always people hating, but that's cool. The Team Tweedie family, I love this little episode and series. I get a lot less views than I do on the other videos, but I don't care. I want to give you guys value. I want to help you as much as possible. So, Team Tweedie, I'll sign out. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe around here. Join Journey. No, join. Anyway, Team Tweedie, I'll sign out. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe around here. Join the #Asktweedie family. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Listen.